one of the last question I wanted to cover today was around current situation and COVID, and whether you, all three of you, what experience that has meant for you at the sort of stage in your career and your learning, what that's meant to you as an apprentice. To go, Nikki?
Well, working for manufacturers, we've been back in work for quite a while now. We were on furlough for a couple of months at the very beginning, came back and we sort of staggered it, but it's fine. And I quite like the fact that we're still, the sessions for the apprenticeship are still online. And I think that's great. I just think it gives you more time while everything's fresh in your head, just to get back and actually start working on tasks straight away. So no, it's great. It's fine.
The year's been okay. How about you, Rachel?
Yeah, again, I'm similar to Nikki. I've been pretty lucky. So I was lucky not to be furloughed at all. I managed to keep working, and we did work from home for a good chunk of time over the first and second lockdowns. But I've been back since about February time, back in the office. So I was lucky to start my apprenticeship after we were back in. After we're back into the office. But I'm the same. I like to, as soon as I've finished, start to really cement that information, writing up notes, jumping on and doing some more learning, maybe getting a write up done of the seminar. So I like to immediately do that to try and just sort of cement some of that information. And then, so I'm the same. I quite enjoy it being distance, and plus you get to talk to people that you wouldn't probably normally interact with. So there's people on my cohort that are all over the country, and I wouldn't necessarily be able to sort of share experiences with those people. And so that's been really good as well, just to get experiences from people that you probably would normally not ever run into. So yeah, that's been a really good part of it too.
How about you, Richard? Have you heard any other stories of how people have managed to support apprentices remotely?
I think we're fairly typical of services organisations, a bit like the DMA, Kate, where I can see that you're working from home as well still. And it has actually made a huge difference to us, because marketing apprenticeships are unusual. It's not what people think of when they think of apprenticeships. And actually lockdown and going completely virtual has made a big difference, in the sense that we've been able to provide apprenticeships to people in all parts of the country that we could never have justified if people were getting on the train and coming to London, or tutors and coaches were going down to Taunton or Northumberland or wherever it might be. So we can put together classes, as Rachel said, from right across the country, from similar industries or different industries, just depending on what's required and whether it's a closed cohort or an open cohort. But I think, generally speaking, well, our dropout rate this year has been really low, and the dropout rate we have had has not been driven by COVID, by the pandemic. It's just been other corporate things, takeovers and people moving jobs and promotions and all the usual. And so it's, if you are bringing somebody who is new into your organization and they're young, then yes, they need a lot of support, and you need to contact them regularly, see how they're doing, keep an eye on what they're doing. But in terms of the actual apprenticeship itself, it is something, it actually possibly helps, of course, because people who don't have people looking over the shoulder have more flexibility with their time to go to do the learning, and to make sure that they can plan things in without the distractions of an office around them. So we certainly haven't found it a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination. And in terms of being able to do good things for more people all over the country, it's actually been really good for us. And although we're open-minded in specific circumstances about going back to having elements of classroom, we're determined that, generally speaking, we'd like to keep most of these advantages and stay working remotely. I mean, people still getting live teaching. They're still getting coaching on a one-to-one basis. So all the fundamentals are there, but without several hours a day of traveling and the costs that occurred.
Great. Any other thoughts on that, Nikki and Rachel, in terms of the future? Do you think you'll carry on working as you have been doing and training?
I hope so. I think it's great. I just think online, it's just the way forward, video and virtual interaction. Definitely.
I hope so. Yeah. Again, it's been such an easy transition. I was worried it was going to be difficult, but JJ specifically, the people are really contactable, so you can get hold of you know, your tutors and your mentors and things, and they're always willing to help with even the smallest question. So, I mean, normally if you were going to go meet up with people, you would potentially hold that back and think, oh, I'll talk to them, you know, when I'm going to meet up with them, because you're putting that effort in to make the travel. Whereas now it's because it's this sort of instant communication, it's so much easier.